This video is sponsored by Squarespace. What's going on, guys? Billy here, and now that the dust has settled around the Mini 3 Pro launch and people who ordered on day one or relatively early after the release are finally starting to receive their drones, I wanted to go over my favorite features of the Mini 3 Pro, and I'm not going to go over the flashy features that everybody seems to hit on in their videos, like the 48 megapixel camera, like the obstacle avoidance sensors, like the active track, or like the new vertical video shooting mode that everybody seems to love. Instead, I want to go over my 3 favorite features that I think make this drone deserving of the Pro name at the end. It's what makes me continue to come back to this drone, not only for my personal shoots, but also my paid commercial shoots. So while the big new feature of the gimbal is the fact that the entire camera rotates vertically for capturing portrait photos and videos, I'm personally a bigger fan of the overall gimbal placement and the design of the body of the drone. I've complained countless times about gimbal and camera placement on previous DJI drones that would lead to the camera shooting downward in the middle of my shot, which completely ruins everything that I'm shooting. The reason that this happens is because the camera is positioned underneath of the actual body of the drone itself, and as it pitches forwards, the front of the drone comes down. So as the gimbal keeps the camera level, it'll eventually block the camera and come into the frame. Now, DJI has actually built a method into their software that prevents this from happening, hence why the camera shoots downwards. That's the method I'm talking about, so that the body of the drone doesn't block the frame, the camera will automatically pitch downwards without you wanting it to, which was a huge pain, but they've actually fixed this on their recent drones like the Mavic Air 2, the Air 2S, and the Mavic 3. For the most part, I can fly as fast as I want forwards, and the camera won't knock down to the ground automatically because of the design of the gimbal and the drone. But this go around with the Mini 3 Pro, DJI has taken it to the next level with their drone and gimbal design. Because the gimbal is set more towards the front of the drone with mounts on the side of the camera rather than above the camera, and because they did away with the hood, as I like to call it, covering the top side of the camera, we now have a much greater range of motion to pitch the camera upwards. Now, this is not on the level of drones like the Parrot Anafi or Skydio 2 that can look straight upwards at 90 degrees. The maximum upwards pitch angle on the Mini 3 Pro is 60 degrees, so while you can't look all the way up, it still allows for a lot of flexibility. For example, when flying at the maximum speed of 35 miles per hour while in sport mode, so the drone is at its maximum forwards pitch angle, I can still look upwards to around 50 degrees as shown on the side of this screen recording. This means that the gimbal will definitely not shoot downwards ever, which is really relieving to know. More importantly though, this extended upwards pitch range allows me to use this drone in ways that I wouldn't be able to with other drones, even the Mavic 3. In my latest vlog, I posted some footage taken around Providence, Rhode Island, and used that extra range of motion to get some really cool reveal shots of the buildings in the city. This is something that I actually used to do a lot with my Inspire 2, but that drone is like 8 years old and it's way too bulky, so it's cool to get these unique shots on a tiny little drone like the Mini 3 Pro. Okay, so I know that I said I wasn't going to be talking about the flashy features, so to speak, that DJI has really been marketing around the Mini 3 Pro, and I guess you could consider the second thing on my list of favorite features of the Mini 3 Pro here kind of one of those things that everybody's been talking about, but it is so great that I really can't leave it out of this list, and that is the flight time. Now remember, there are 2 different batteries that ship with this drone. One that keeps the drone under 249 grams, which is important for those that want to stay unregistered with the FAA or with your local aviation administration. But for those of you that are already registered, they also made a larger battery that is basically the same through and through, except for that capacity, which increases the flight time to 47 minutes. That officially makes this drone, the Mini 3 Pro, DJI's longest flying drone by advertised flight time throughout their entire lineup, not only on their consumer side, but also on the commercial side, which is just incredibly impressive, especially for how small this drone and where it fits in their lineup all the way at the bottom as their entry-level drone. It really is impressive. Now, if we look at the Mavic 3 and Mavic 3 Cine, that has an advertised flight time of 46 minutes, so it's right up there with the Mini 3 Pro, but quite frankly, in my time flying both of these drones, I feel like I can get more real-world flight time out of the Mini 3 Pro than I can with the Mavic 3 when flying in similar conditions, in similar flying styles. The Mini 3 Pro, just in my opinion, has better efficiency. That's at least what I've noticed during my time flying. Now, I guess I kind of lied because DJI does have a longer flying drone than this. It's their M300. It is the creme de la creme. It is the king of the commercial drones, but that's only when you are flying with no payload attached. I think that the advertised flight time is something like 55 minutes, but let's be real. When we attach a payload underneath, it's going to drastically change that flight time. Therefore, I'm crowning the Mini 3 Pro as the flight time champion within DJI's entire current lineup of drones. Now, of course, we know that the Mini 3 Pro and drones in general have a hard time reaching their advertised flight time. So I set out to get some real world results on how long the Mini 3 Pro would last with the extended battery through a few different tests. At first, I just wanted to let the drone hover in a controlled environment, so I let it sit inside of my garage until it hit 10%, and then I landed. I found that doing so got me a total of 33 minutes and 30 seconds of flight time, so that is 13 and a half minutes less than what DJI is advertising. I then went outside and flew a path back and forth over this golf course in the normal flight mode at a constant speed of 21 to 23 miles per hour, again, until I reached 10%, and this probably is the most boring thing that I've ever done with a drone, but this got me a total of 35 minutes and 12 seconds of flight time, which is still short of the 47-minute mark by about 11 minutes and 48 seconds. Now, my actual real-world flight time with the Mini 3 Pro would have been closer to DJI's advertised number had I drained the battery all the way down to 0%, and if I was able to fly in perfect conditions with absolutely no wind. But let's be real, over 35 minutes of flight time with 10% battery remaining, that's enough to get you back from pretty much any distance that you're flying at. That is really impressive, and that really is one of the biggest reasons that has me coming back to use this drone. I usually fly drones professionally for real estate and construction, and also for personal use, right? For fun, making YouTube videos, posting photos on Instagram, and usually I'm flying drones like the Mavic 3 and the Air 2S, so the bar has been set very high, but the Mini 3 Pro can definitely hang. It's awesome how small, portable, and quiet this drone is, and that flight time is just an added bonus. Like, I can fly at multiple locations and squeeze in multiple jobs on just one battery, which bolsters that pro name and just makes my life a whole lot easier. All of that flight time that I'm able to squeeze out of one battery allows me to keep the Mini 3 in the air for longer to take great photos, most of which I share on my portfolio website that I created with today's video sponsor, Squarespace. Squarespace is a platform that I've personally been using even before I started posting videos to my YouTube channel here 6 years ago. I built my first portfolio using Squarespace's platform because of their templates that are stylish, functional, and easy to customize. I didn't need to learn how to code, I didn't need any previous experience, and I didn't need to spend an exorbitant amount of money to hire someone to build it from scratch. Instead, I could work at my own pace, I could choose my best photographs and customize the template to be exactly how I wanted. In my case, I have a simple design with a black background and minimal text to keep the focus on the images. Squarespace goes even deeper with detailed analytics so I can see who is looking at my photos on my website. They've got integrated SEO tools so that I can get my work seen by more people online, and if I choose to do so, I could start an online store right within Squarespace's platform to sell prints, presets, or anything else photography related. So thanks to Squarespace for sponsoring this video and helping me display my work online for over half a decade. So getting back on track here to my third favorite feature about the Mini 3 Pro, the flight time is of course always something we see marginal improvements with in every single drone release thanks to larger batteries, better efficiency, and improvements in that battery technology. Another area that always seems to be improved with each new drone release is performance, and it especially stands out with a drone like the Mini 3 Pro because of its size and weight. You wouldn't expect a drone that is this tiny, sub 249 grams, to be able to withstand the wind the way that it does and zip around at its maximum speed of 35 miles an hour, yet it does effortlessly. I feel like I say the same thing every time a new mini drone comes out. It doesn't fly like a mini, it doesn't fly like a tiny 250-gram drone, but with the Mini 3 Pro, if you handed me the remote and you made me guess which drone I was flying and you stripped down all of the special features on the app and it was just blank, I wouldn't say that this was an entry-level tiny drone. I would think it's something larger and more substantial. The only thing that might give it away is that top speed of 35 miles per hour, which might sound slow in your head, but when you consider that DJI's top-of-the-line foldable drone in the Mavic 3 has a top speed of 47 miles an hour, so it's only 12 miles an hour faster, it really isn't all that slow at all. I mean, The difference is substantial. Like when you're flying the Mavic 3, you can feel it has more powerful, but it's not so much to the point where it makes the Mini 3 feel like a turtle, if that makes sense. Where the Mini 3 really saw a big improvement this year though is in its vertical speed. So this drone can now ascend and descend at a maximum speed of 12 miles per hour, which is almost double that of the Mini 2, which had a maximum vertical speed of 7.5 miles per hour. To put it further into perspective, it's also double the 6.5 miles per hour of the larger, more powerful Mavic 2 Pro. This allows you to pull the drone up and increase altitude at a faster speed, and you can dive down to the ground incredibly fast, which I enjoy using for those dynamic shots. For example, if I'm up in the air, I can dive down towards a subject that I'm tracking at a speed that just wasn't possible with other mini drones, making it feel really powerful. The same is true if I'm doing a fast reveal shot. I can shoot up into the air super fast to make the shot feel like it's coming from a larger, more powerful drone. When you mix all of that performance with the increased range of motion through the upwards pitch of the gimbal because of the new design, this drone, the Mini 3 Pro, becomes a very fluid and dynamic flyer. Like you can get shots that previously weren't attainable with other drones because of its design or because of its lack of performance, and it's all packed into a tiny drone that fits inside of your palm. So again, it's really a lot of fun to fly, but also opens up more opportunities to get shots. There's very little limitations. I mean, the maximum wind gusts that this drone can withstand is up to 24 miles an hour. So this overall is a very capable drone. I mean, just to give you an example, as we move into the summer season here, I've been flying a lot down the shore, and recently it has been very windy down there, and the Mini 3 Pro has been handling those gusts like a champ. So when you try to define a pro drone, or like really any pro piece of camera equipment for that matter, it's really difficult because there's so many different levels of pro, right? So many different professional levels. I mean, I am a professional photographer and videographer. I shoot real estate and construction, but there's also another level of professional like filmmakers, right? That obviously wouldn't be able to use a drone like this. They would probably want to use something that can carry a bigger camera with a bigger sensor with higher fidelity codecs. But for someone like myself, that is still considered a professional because I of course make a profession out of taking photos and taking videos from drones. This still accomplishes everything that I need and then some, and that's impressive for such a small drone. So I think a lot of people in the beginning were like, DJI shouldn't have slapped the name Pro onto this drone, but like, why not, right? Like, why shouldn't they have slapped Pro on the name of a drone that has great performance, incredible flight time, an awesome camera that's nice, small, lightweight, that's able to do things that other drones can't? I mean, this really is deserving of that Pro name, and the three things that I covered here in this video, the flight time, the design of the gimbal, as well as its performance, really do kind of stand out to me as the reasons that this is deserving of that Pro moniker. So guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts on the Mini 3 Pro down below. If you've got one already, what are your 3 favorite features? I mean, there's so many to list, but again, these are my 3 favorite features. And as always, I'll talk to you later. Peace.